Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Waves of Feeling. We are dedicated to communicate to you and provide you with information of being aware and keep open mind to alternative ways of feeling, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. I'm your host, Leah Yekutiel, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I'm a reconnective energy healer practitioner, a breast cancer victor, not victim, and the author of the book, Making the Breast of It. In order to learn more about me and my book, please visit my website at www.ilovemybreastcancer.com. All in one word, ilovemybreastcancer.com. And while you are visiting my website, please purchase my book and give a gift of love to somebody you love who went through breast cancer, where they can learn how to reclaim their femininity back, how to rebuild their self-confidence living with breast cancer, and learn to love their new image, accept and love their new image, and learn that sexuality exudes from inside out and not from outside in. And the most important thing is they would learn through the many exercises in the book how to connect with the spiritual aspect of life, where they realize that we women are not only our breasts in order to be viable, functional sexual beings. And while you are visiting my website, you have the option to download for free 25 breast health tips. And if you apply some of them in your daily life, you'll be surprised how many cancers, how many breast cancers, or any other diseases we can prevent. Because my show is all about prevention. Also, you know that doctors can diagnose us, many times misdiagnose us, but the responsibility of taking care of our health and well-being is on us. Each one of us have to be vigilant and take responsibility for our health. Because after the issue, there is nothing we can do. But prevention is up to us. So with that said, please go and download it for free and do whatever you want to do with it, because it's incredible information and it's for free. And with that said, I want to tell you who is my guest today, another person who is working on peaceful mind and peaceful world and doing a tremendous job. My guest today is Barb Schmidt, who is the author of The Practice. Many of you, I'm sure, know about Barb Schmidt, but for those who are not that familiar with Barb, let me tell you just a little bit about her. Barb is a founder of Peaceful Mind, Peaceful World, a community outreach program through Florida Atlantic University designed to promote dialogue on the topic of inner peace. Barb is also the founder of Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life, a nonprofit organization through which she teaches steps from her book, The Practice, a 3-part guide to practical spirituality in the modern world, and her tool for spreading her belief that outer peace begins with inner peace. Most definitely, Barb. Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life has a huge online presence with posts reaching 10 million people. Wow. In 2014, Barb's achievements earned her an invitation to the White House State Dinner. Barb, how come you did not invite me to go with you? Are you there?
I know. Yes, I'm here. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I know. When I got the invitation, I looked at my husband and I said, honey, are you ready to go?
Oh, okay. So you prefer your husband over me. Okay,
right.
got it.
Right. I said, get your tux on, honey. We're going.
Let me first of all to wish all the listeners the happiest New Year ever. So you are listening to this uplifting show, and the people that I bring you just unbelievably wonderful people. So make it the best year ever, with happiness, with abundance, in everything. And now, Barb, I want to ask you. You are talking so much about meditation, and I know meditation, everybody talks about it. I do it twice a day, meditation, and a lot of people getting into it. What brought you to meditation?
Well, it started 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I went into treatment for the food addiction of bulimia. I had a difficult childhood, suffered with parents, and just had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of trauma in my childhood, and developed an eating disorder of bulimia. But through all of that, at the age of, before I was actually the age of 25, I owned McDonald's restaurants because I was working for McDonald's as a high school teenager and worked my way up to their program and became available and was able to own my own McDonald's restaurant. So I had all the external things that life could offer. Owned McDonald's restaurants, I had money, I had everything. I had a husband, I had all the things that society says, you've made it, you've arrived, you've achieved happiness and success because you have all of this, but I was miserable. And suffering from an eating disorder like bulimia really takes a toll on your body and your mental status. So in 1984, I just didn't go to work one day and said, I can't live this way anymore, and was reading my local newspaper, and they were talking about Karen Carpenter's death back in 1983 and her suffering from anorexia. And they had an ad for a treatment center in Naples, Florida. I live in South Florida. So I checked myself in the next day for a 6-week stay, and that's launched me on meditation and yoga and this whole going through therapy and just really spending 6 weeks on me, talking about my deep inner traumas and sufferings and things that were happening with me, leaving the external world for that 6 weeks and learning how to meditate and yoga, and coming out of treatment launched me on this real search and quest. The 12 steps of AA, the 11 steps, as sought through prayer and meditation to deepen my conscious contact, and that's what I did. So 30 years ago, in 1984, really launched me on this search.
Well, 30 years ago, meditation was not as popular as these days, right?
No, I mean, people thought it was weird, and so I didn't talk about it. I'm a private person anyway, or was. You know, when you suffer from an eating disorder, you really are in the closet. You don't feel good about yourself. Everything is a secret. Everything is behind the scenes. So coming out of treatment, when I was talking, I was so excited, and I felt like I was on in a new life, and so really ready to start living my life. But people were looking at me like, what are you doing? Yoga wasn't even popular back then. None of that was popular. So I kept to myself, and I really developed, and I love the fact that happened for me, because it really taught me that everything happens from the inside out. So the more I kept deepening my inside strength and compassion and wisdom, the more I could really handle things that were happening in the external world. So it was really a blessing that nobody wanted to listen to me talk about meditation. They thought I was weird. Where today I can really freely talk about it, teach it, and really help people get to where it is they want to go in their lives.
And this is so important. It's unfortunate, Barb, that I feel the same way. It's unfortunate that we have to go through some drastic events in our life in order to wake up.
Yeah. I talk so much about the blessings underneath the traumas and the tragedies, but you're right. You're so right that it is. It's almost like I'm so glad that I had this happen. I'm not glad that it happened because it was a tragedy or it was a hardship, but in some level, I am glad because it did wake me up. What if I didn't? Would I have ever woken up? You don't really know. So you hear so many stories from survivors and from people that say, "Wow, this happened and it was awful, but look where I am today." So I was a young girl who was unhappy, who was depressed, who felt like she didn't matter and she didn't fit in. And now I'm 58 years old, on top of the world, feeling like I'm really living my life from the inside out, grounded in what it is I came here to do, loving my life and loving the people that I interact with and really wanting to bring compassion and peace to the world as my calling and my mission. So you can transform yourself from the inside out, and it happened as a result of the suffering and the bulimia and the traumas and going into treatment.
This is so true because I have a chapter in my book, and it's called My Breast Cancer Was a Blessing in Disguise.
Yeah.
Because at the time that when it happens, we don't look at it this way, but it's really traumatic. But after that, when you wake up and you look at it, say, okay, so there was a reason for it. I had to wake up. Because I believe that there is a reason for everything that happens to us. It's up to us how we react to everything that happens to us. But there is a reason because there is a lesson to be learned from it.
So
I'm
beautiful.
sure your case as well, right?
Absolutely. When I was in therapy and treatment, it was my therapist, oh my gosh, I owe her so much love and gratitude. She would say to me, okay, feel the feelings of all the trauma and the hurt, and then give yourself 5 minutes, 5 years, 5 days. Give yourself a set amount of time. Do you want to live in that trauma and that suffering, or do you want to let it go and see what then life has to offer you? And it's true. Once we deeply feel the feelings of the hurt and the incompleteness and the feeling that I didn't belong, once I felt all of that in my therapy and then ultimately in my meditation, then I could let it go. Did I really want to live there? We have a choice in our mind of where we want to live. Do we want to live in the suffering and the pain, or do we want to live in the transformation and the recovery? And it's amazing when you start to get that little by little each day that I have a choice. Do I want to live in the joy, or do I want to live in the suffering? Do I want to live in the pain, or do I want to live in the happiness? And this is what you're talking about in your book. We need to feel the feelings, and it is a tragedy, and it is sorrowful. But then we do have a choice then of what we're going to do with it once we do feel the feelings. And bulimia is a disease that causes you and that doesn't want you. I didn't want to feel the feelings because I was afraid. And once I went into treatment and felt the feeling, I could then release it. And I practice so much. You must feel it, but then let it go. You don't have to live there.
Yeah. As the saying goes, whatever you resist persists.
Yes.
Unless you experience it and accept it and learn from it, then you can let it go, and instead of avoiding it. So, let me ask you a question a little bit about this mission of yours, Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life. What is it all about? Can you elaborate a little bit more about it?
I can. I'm coming into, when you really come into your own, just like you're doing on this show, it's a show of trying to give people something that they can learn from and that they can put into their own lives. And the same for me. I thought, I have received so much in my life. What can I do now to give back? And so in writing the book and all the workshops and the lectures I do, I formed this nonprofit, Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life, which has initiatives I teach teenage children how to meditate and deal with the stresses and the anxieties about taking tests and bullying. and I teach autistic adults, and I've launched some sports initiatives to try to help players start to be in the moment. So it's about how can I really take this meditation, sitting with yourself, mindfulness, all of the things that I have learned that have transformed me, how can I start to use this in the world and helping people to transform themselves? So it's an initiative. I have a lot of programs that I've partnered with in trying to give back. So all the work that I do, all the profits that I make from everything that I do goes back into this nonprofit for funding these programs to try to help people of all walks of life really find their center, find that deep connectedness within so that they can start walking the life that they really, truly came here to walk and that they're really desiring to live.
You say it so beautifully, I'm telling you. And you and I and many others know that everything starts with us. Peace with us, within us, that can bring peace into somebody else's life. It's not from outside in, but it's from inside out. That's
so
what you're
true.
talking about.
Yeah. You know, I can have I look at Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life really as a movement of trying to really empower people to own their own lives and really start taking responsibility for themselves and knowing that they have a choice through this deep inner work. So I can have all these thoughts, I can have all these opinions, let's say, and thoughts about what I think peace should be or what I think life should be. But unless my mind and my heart really feel that way, if I really feel love and compassion and a sense of connectedness that, wow, no matter what happens in the outside world, I am okay, all is well, and I can live my life from the inside out, it's not going to happen. It can't happen. It has to start from the inside. So it has, as you said, it's so beautifully, it has to start with us. One person at a time, we really start to transform the world by really living in this connectedness from within and really knowing deeply that we are love, that we are pure goodness once we get through all the stuff.
Barb, how people who are interested to learn more about you can learn about you? What is your website address?
My website is, I have two, barbschmidt.com and peacefulmindpeacefullife.org, which is the nonprofit. So you can access me through both of those and all the other social media, Peaceful Barb at Facebook and Twitter and all of that. And then I had the great blessing of launching my book on May 13th this year. Not this year. Well, we're in the new year in 2014. So you can check out the book that has all the 3-step guide that I practice myself and that I teach, and all the examples and activities that you can do to really start to deepen. I say it's a deepening of a practice, and it's really a deepening of a practice with yourself, learning to accept yourself for who you are, learning to love yourself, and learning to really know who you are so that you can get into the life that you want to live. So barbschmidt.com, peacefulmindpeacefullife.org.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, you know, I read every week a book like yours, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to do the exercises, meditation, and my question is, what your book differentiates than other book in the same genre? Your book, The Practice.
That's a really good question. I've been practicing for 30 years with so many, when you read my book, so many different teachers and masters and mystics. And I, too, I'm such an avid reader, and part of my practice is to do inspirational reading every day, some sentence or paragraph or chapter. So I call it simple tools because the tools are simple. They're not necessarily easy because we have to exercise some discipline, exercise some real effort to put this into our lives. But if we do take a minute here and 5 minutes there, that there is a way of putting in a spiritual practice into our life that's not so heavy and that's not so hard, that we really can make time for 5 minutes here. We can, when we have the world spinning around us during a day that's going really hectic, or I'm starting to go down a negative path, I learned that I can stop. I can stop those negative thoughts in the moment, take a couple of deep breaths, bring my mind back to the moment, which the breath does bring us back to the moment, and start again. So it's really about these little simple things that probably many of us have read and many of us know, but we forget to practice them, and we forget that we can do them in the moment. We forget that they're available to us right now.
Yeah.
So I like to think that my book is taking all these great, I'm not really saying that I'm saying anything new. I really do mean that. I don't think there's a teacher out there that really, the meditation is meditation. All the things, mindfulness and learning how to breathe and being one-pointed and not multitasking all the time, finding ourselves in the present moment. All the great teachers, Eckhart Tolle, Thich Nhat Hanh, all the great teachers have taught all of that, but how do we really simplify it in a way that we can practice it? Mm-hmm. So I like to think that my book has taken all these great teachings and given the readers, it certainly has worked for me in the past 30 years, a way to practice it each day, little by little.
And living in the moment, each moment, living as a new unit of time versus focusing on the past or the future. As Eckhart Tolle says, the life is all the time in the present moment. And that's what you are talking about. Meditation is getting your mind in the present moment, relax, get calm down, breathe deeply. That's it.
I love
Even
it.
if it's 1 minute, 1 second. And what you say is do it one step at a time, one day at a time. You start with 5 minutes a day, then you can increase it to 10 minutes a day. And it's really wonderful getting into habit to use these tools, these wonderful tools that you provide in your book, and I really appreciate it. You also
you
talk
said
about...
it just now. I just want to say, you said so beautifully that's just it. It's just 1 minute sometimes, and we forget that we can stop. I love the way you just said that. Beautiful.
Yeah, we forget. And your book is really a reminder, hey, take 1 minute off and focus on the present, because life is constant present. You also talk about using a sacred mantra. What do you mean by that?
That is, I learned decades ago. It's a practice of this sacred word or a holy word or a phrase that comes from a particular tradition, religion, master, teacher, book. It comes from one of those places of holiness, of reverence. And so all of the traditions, and the Native American Indian tradition as well, they all have a group of words or phrases that they use when they are feeling stressed. I mean, I'm breaking this down in modern day language. They didn't actually say it that way in their writings, but they have a group of words when they're feeling stressed that brings them back to the moment, that intercepts those thoughts of stress and fear and anger and resentment and brings them right back to the moment. Every single tradition has one. So I started practicing this decades ago, this repeating these words that come from this sacred place, from this holy place. And it's different from an affirmation, and it's different from the way we use mantra in the West. This is the way the Eastern practitioners used it centuries ago. Mantra was not something that we made up or that was in the moment of, I think I'm going to use this as my mantra today, but we've westernized it, and we say that. And I think we're using that more as an affirmation. So I called it a sacred mantra to give it a distinction of, really these are words and phrases that come from these holy, sacred, hallowed religions and traditions and people that use them before us. So I've been using one for decades. You pick a mantra that resonates for you, and there are thousands of them. You can do some research, and I have a lot of them in my book. And it is a truly transformational, unbelievable tool. I'm in the grocery store line, and it's slow, and there's not enough help, and I'm in a rush because I need to go pick up my daughter from school. What can I do about it? Absolutely nothing, but my mind is going crazy. So I start repeating my mantra. It intercepts those thoughts, and the mantra is a holy, sacred phrase. So I start repeating my mantra in the moment. I calm down. I bring my mind to a place of rest because I
got into a habit recently. When I wake up in the morning and during the day, I just announce to myself, I love my life, I love my life, I love my life. And you know what? The universe brings love into my life.
Yes. It's so
simple.
amazing. It sounds so simple and it sounds so easy and it's so amazing how it happens. And I think it's exactly the way that you were saying it, that we send this energy out into the universe. So if we're sending negative, sorrowful, resentful energy out into the universe, that's what's going to come back to us because we're attracting that, we're feeling that, and we spiral down into that. But if we can work through the feelings, I really believe this truly. When I went into treatment, I really got it that I'm in this negative place because I haven't really dealt with the feelings that I've been feeling all these years.
Right.
So let me feel the feelings. Let me really know, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was traumatized. Yes, this happened to me. Let me feel it deeply and then move past it. And that's where the blessing comes that we've both been talking about when we have something happen in our lives that's traumatic. When we move past it, we say, wow, thank you for the gift of that because look where I am today.
Yeah. And we had to go through all this in order to get to where we are right now. So just accept it.
Yeah. It's not easy. I really don't. I'm not trying to say that it's easy, but I'm really out there trying to promote, and really my passion is you can do it. It's not easy, but you are capable, you are able, and it is your birthright to really own the life that you came here to live and really live it. So you can do it. You are strong. You are able to do it. And so the tools that I talk about are all the practices that I've been doing for decades that really empower you and give you the strength of really uncovering that greatness that you have within you.
Wonderful. Now we have 2 more minutes to go.
Okay.
I know you are doing something else, a new project that you are working on. Can you tell us what you are working on? Is anything new that I don't know yet about?
Yes. I have a new initiative that I'm starting through Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life called Zen Sports and Zen Ed. And the sports, watching what's been happening with the NFL. I'm a sports. I was really raised in some sports with my dad. So I'm a sports lover, but I've been terribly dismayed at all of the violence and all the things that have been happening in the NFL in particular. So I've had some people reach out to me. How can we start to cultivate some of this meditation and mindfulness and get some space between our feelings and our actions? Because some of this is just learned behavior of I'm angry and I want my way and my ego is taking charge, so I'm going to lash out. I'm going to abuse. I'm going to be angry. So I've started this initiative, Zen Sports, and I've started some programs in the local college here and talking to some other people across the country of how can we start to train the athletes, the trainers, the coaches with some mindfulness practices that bring them in the moment. And we know, you and I both know, that deeply then bring you into an awareness and a state in your personal life that's really meaningful and that helps you be able to, handle some of the aggression and some of the stress that happens on and off the field.
Yeah,
so I'm excited about that we're launching that in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's great. You get involved with a lot of... Okay, Barb, would you like to mention your website again? Because we have 50 seconds to go.
Okay. Thank you. I first want to say thank you. It's been an honor to be here and to talk to your viewers and really to know you. And my website is Barb Schmidt, my name, barbschmidt.com, and the nonprofit is Peaceful Mind, peacefullife.org. We cannot have a life that's meaningful and peaceful without a peaceful mind, so peacefulmindpeacefullife.org. And it's been a joy and a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Barb. I really appreciate you taking the time to educate, because this is a life, our life, and it's so important to educate. So thanks a lot. Thank you for the listeners, and thank you, Barb, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Yes, blessings for a beautiful new year. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.